Weird news this morning, huh? That I don't know if it makes you feel old, makes you, I don't know. 1997 for most of us, I guess it seems like a long time ago. When you think about it, really, it isn't that long ago. But yeah, your opponent in your first fight actually passed away.
Yeah, they found Tony Halme deceased I think in Finland, and I haven't heard any other details other than that. So yeah, that is kind of strange. One of the guys that was cornering him texted me and said, "Yeah, they found Tony," and I asked for more details. He said he didn't have any more at this time, so we'll see. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I didn't know Tony well, but obviously it was my first fight, and he was a huge guy.
Yeah, I mean, interesting life too. 47-year-old guy, went into politics. When it was a pretty decent name wrestler with WWF for a while, but just 47 years old, kind of makes you think about your mortality. Not that either one of us is that old, but hey, you never know.
Yeah, you never know, but it's good to have fun and live life today.
Exactly. So what's your recollection thinking back to that fight? We're here in a decent-sized hotel. I know we've talked about this in the past. This is a beautiful Hyatt. You were in like the Holiday Inn, and where was it? Was it Marietta, Georgia?
That was Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, and Scared Shitless comes to mind.
Did you get a look at him before the fight?
I saw him a little bit, but it was a little bit different seeing him walk out, with that intent in his eye and standing across the ring with his arms out. And I didn't see the interviews. My mom was actually watching it on television from Seattle and started crying when he started talking about how he's going to rip my arms off and all the stuff he was going to do. So, and he was a 300-pound man. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I wrote a story the other day about Aaron Simpson because I think there's some parallels with you and Simpson. Simpson's 35, really just got into MMA at like 33 and a half, 34. You wouldn't think that'd be possible now. Back then, you at 34 years old with your wrestling background, maybe the field wasn't as big. Times have changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think the science of sports has come a long way. We get a lot more out of our bodies. I think in a lot of ways, 40 is what 30 used to be. And Aaron is a fantastic athlete. I watched him wrestle at Arizona State, coached against him when I was at Oregon State, and he's a tremendous wrestler and just a tremendous athlete. So he's been very, very impressive to watch fight the last couple fights he's been in.
Well, the biggest thing for me with him is a killer instinct, and I don't know that you can teach a fighter that to go in and just destroy people. Some guys are a little tentative at times at the end of a fight.
Well, we certainly don't see that in him, and some guys just have that. You know what the rules of engagement are, and it's common in wrestling to push it. You want to push a guy till he quits. We call it breaking him. You want to break your opponent, and Aaron is one of those wrestlers like Gray Maynard who had that. That was part of their wrestling repertoire, part of their mentality on a wrestling mat, and that's just carried over to fighting.
So I would say Aaron looks about his age. He looks about 35. I was thinking back to your appearance, and obviously you were losing your hair at the time. How do you think people would welcome your appearance now? A 34-year-old guy, you had this great pedigree. I kind of wonder if people would look at him and go, "Who the hell is this guy? He's going bald, and he looks kind of beat up. What the hell is with him?"
I don't know. I've heard those things before. I mean, I heard it on the wrestling mat. I can remember being a junior or senior in college, and I decided to grow a beard, and took a kid down in a big Penn State dual meet, and right on the edge of the mat, and somebody from the stands yelled, "Don't let that old guy do that to you." So I've heard those sort of things before. I was a 25-year-old freshman at Oklahoma State.
Okay,
and was there for 4 years. So, by the rest of the standards of the guys wrestling, I was old. And
so at 46 now, and in your 40s, when people ask about the old question, you're like, "I've been old since I've been in my 20s."
Yeah, I just roll my eyes. It's all good.
So how do you think Gray's going to do tonight? And how impressive does he have to win to get the title shot? Because I think they're kind of deciding, it's either him or Edgar against B.J. Penn.
I don't think Gray's going to worry about it. I think he's going to go out and do what he trained to do. Obviously his hands have been the biggest thing that he's improved over the last 2 years working with Gil Martinez. And he specifically got a lot of time in with Neil for this fight, working on his ground fighting and coming up with submission defense, because he doesn't want to get caught in something like he did in the exhibition match with Nate. So he's looking forward to stomping on Nate tonight, and I think he's prepared to do that.
I was going to say Nate is now turned into like the modern day little Nog. Not little nog, but like little nog. Like he takes a beating, and then all of a sudden, hey, you make one mistake against the kid, and he's going to submit you.
Well, the Diaz brothers are both like that. I mean, they're wily, they're long, they're rangy guys, and they're deceptive. They don't. You took a look at them, and they don't look like they'd be very strong or be able to be effective that way. But they're very, very skilled on the ground, and their stand up is good. They're good fighters.
I know you've talked about the whole camp deal, a.k.a. those guys don't want to fight each other. Your guys that really don't want to fight each other, Gray and Tyson. Do you think in some ways that their lack of a desire to fight each other and maybe move up in that title chase has actually held them back a little bit?
I don't know that it's come to that. I've not heard that Joe or any of the guys have tried to match those two guys up. But I thought they were under the impression that sooner or later they're going to have to fight each other. And we've had guys that trained. Coleman came and trained with us to get ready for Bonner, and Bonner trains with us. Amir and Baroni both train with us. We've had guys in the gym that trained in the same space and have had to fight each other. So I don't know that they've said they won't fight each other, but they are training partners. They are friends. They work out together all the time. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah. I think all three. I think Edgar, Griffin, and Maynard all deserve a shot at BJ eventually. I will say, I think with AKA, I think those guys have actually put themselves in a bad position by not fighting each other because they're having to fight lesser guys who don't have big names. They're getting knocked off, and now you've got guys jumping in front of them, potentially Dan Hardy and Paul Daly. So.
Yeah, it can certainly work against you, and I don't know. Again, I come from that wrestling mentality where I had to wrestle some of my best friends for the spot on the team, and one of us is going to lose and not get to compete. So, that's just you do what you do.